everyone. Welcome back to the One Point Safety Show. Myself, Scott Hartley, and my amazing co-host, Scouse Andy. How are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine, man. I'm fine. How are things with yourself?
All good, mate. Trying to get the internet fixed. The internet is good, but just in different places, it's difficult within the house. So that room I was in before, might have to have a switch around to try and see how I can get a better stream, because I've noticed the last few videos, it's just been kind of dying a little bit, which isn't ideal. So apologies if you've been watching on YouTube over the last couple of videos where I've been in and out and a bit looking like a robotic man. So apologies for that. But yeah, apart from that, mate, all good.
Isn't that standard for you though?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah, definitely. Defo. We'll start as always, mate, with our sponsors. So Dunstable Town FC, Talk of the Town podcast, where they're sponsor for this upcoming season. If you're into non-league football, go across and go and give them a listen and a subscribe on YouTube. Burrow has been putting out loads of videos at the minute, so he's big in with the media team. So go ahead and watch that if you want to talk soccer or non-league football. It's all good there. You can also go across to oddballs.com, myoddballs.com. Go and have a look at them. There's lots of pants and various different bits and pieces on there that you can go and buy go and buy our logo on a pair of pants if you want to do that. Also Fusion Therapeutics, mate, which is northwich-physio.co.uk. They provide expert MSK assessments and treatments with a focus on holistic care. They're dedicated to improve your well-being through tailored musculoskeletal health plans. The team offers specialist injection therapy, non-medical independent prescribing. So if you're in the Northwest, Manchester or Cheshire, please give the team a call on 01606 512 013, or you can book online and the team will be happy to advise you on further affordable treatment solutions. Mate, I had a look at their website and they've got another 6 or 7 5-star reviews. So anyone out there who needs physio in that area, do go out and give them a shout, because they're really good. They're really, really good people and top of their game. So Fusion Therapeutics, go and Google them, go and have a look, and they'll be able to sort you out. Other than that, mate, there's not a lot to talk about, is there? Let's be honest. I mean,
Scott G's mentioned just there, just for you, mate.
Is my mic boom blocking my face? I tell you what I can do, Scott. I can move the camera, but to be honest, the mic blocking my face is absolutely fine. Let's be honest. Exactly. It's probably better for most people if they're watching.
Oh, look, you're ugly, Mudwin. Look at my velvet looks. You know what I mean?
Well, that's it, mate. You can't all be as smooth, can we? You know what I mean? I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, there's not a lot going on at the minute. It's a difficult one news-wise, because there's not a great amount to talk about. We're going to try and concentrate on Edge and why we must sign an Edge, and why it's really important to use this opportunity while Jayden's on his rookie deal to get better, and how we can go about doing that. The only bit of news I've seen this week, Scouse, was that the DC Council delayed its vote on the Commander Stadium as the budget battles continuing. So Mayor Muriel Bowser is urging the council to pass the stadium deal, but the council chair, Phil Mendelsohn, wants to separate it from the main budget. He says that the council need more time for due diligence, making the original July the 15th approval date unrealistic. The stadium proposal remains funded, but for now, separate votes as the council catches up on its budget delays caused by congressional spending cuts. I did see a statement from Josh Harris and the ownership group saying that we're still on track for 2030 and that they want to use the 2031 FIFA Women's World Cup as a staging post to host within the stadium. So I think this still gets done. Don't see it being a big issue. What about you, mate?
I think it's just people in politics playing politics. You know, that guy just wants probably an extra handout or an extra, something that he wants to get pass through himself, for his constituents, and that's all it is, man. It's favor for favor, isn't it? We all know what politics is about, so it's I think that's all that is. To be fair, just trying to piss people off enough, but not to really cause any major problems. So just so he gets what he wants, and then it'll get passed through at some point. But again, quickly.
I don't disagree with you at all, mate. I think you're spot on what you're saying there. That is exactly how it works. We know that politicians are going to be politicians. It's what's good for my district. What can I get in my area? What can I do for me? Now, we've already been told that and it's been announced that the Goodell and Trump and everybody else was there, that the draft is coming in 2027. So realistic public spending and what they're spending on this stadium, ideally that money's going to come in from there anyway into the coffers of the DC Council, and that area. So what you're actually going to have to pony up for this stadium isn't going to be as much as what they actually think it is going to be. And it's already been told that it's going to be on infrastructure, and which, to be honest, you'd have had to spend money on infrastructure anyway, even if you were going to remove RFK Stadium, you know what I mean, and change it into something different. Yes, there'll be parking lots. Yes, there'll be water. There'll be, services, electrical services, waste services, all that sort of stuff that we need. Having a stadium built there, but in the best interest of everybody, this is the best interest of everybody, isn't it? I mean, what's really annoying me as a fan, and I'm sure it annoys you and everybody else out there in Commanders Nation, is we have to sit there and watch on Twitter all these teams that are getting upgrades to stadiums or new stadiums or whatever it may be. I mean, the Browns announced new stadium plans for them today. And the funding that's coming from taxpayer is miles more than what obviously we're, what's being put forward by this ownership group. I mean, where do you stand on that? I mean, because a lot of people would say, no tax funding, tax funders payments at all. But is that unrealistic completely, Scouse?
I understand it from both angles. As a fan or as a normal person who pays taxes, and I don't pay obviously over in the States, but it's still the same thing. It's that kind of thing where it's a tough one, because I understand it from a business point of view. I understand it from a normal layman's person as well, because do you want your money your tax money being spent on some stadium that you're probably never going to go in, or some people can't even afford to go in ever? So so I understand that argument, saying, why should our money go towards that? But as you said, it's more about infrastructure, and that's exactly what the government's there for, and the councils are there for, to actually help, improve roads, infrastructure stuff. You know what I mean? So not just a stadium. So, and I understand that from a business point of view, where you want to get as much money as you can to help pay with it, because $3 billion or what it might cost is a hell of a lot of money to find. And we're talking like cash here, not just talking like in assets. You know what I mean? We've got to find that dollar to be able to pay everybody to do the thing. But that's also great for the economy. That's gonna massively boost the economy, increase jobs around the area. So there's always pluses and minuses to any kind of deal, to be fair. Yeah. I mean, when you're talking about like Cleveland or those type things, where they get more money from the taxpayer, let's face it though, in Cleveland they haven't got anything. I mean, I think their football team is more important to Cleveland than, say, unfortunately, Washington is to Washington.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? So we're like, why should we pay out too much? See, where Maryland might actually want to probably offer more money than DC, but it's a case of we don't want to be there. We want to be back in Washington, where we belong. And I'm one of them people. I think we should be, but that's probably the reason why we're getting lowballed with the actual financial help from the government.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I mean, Scott G's got a question here. Thanks for being with us, Scott. We appreciate it. He said there's always a group of anti-sports population who are against any public dollars going towards projects relating to sport. Doesn't matter what the size of the project. Yeah, I agree. And that's not just in America. That's all sides of the pond. In fact, it's probably everywhere you go. People don't necessarily see the bigger picture of what, the stadium will be utilised for, what it'd be used for. It's not just going to be, that's here just for the Commanders to play football in. It's going to be used for concerts. It's going to be used to bring more prosperity towards the area. And as Scouse and myself pointed out before, it's what you do with, all the other stuff that goes on. And then it's like, well, what happens with infrastructure? What happens with trying to get rid of an asbestos-ridden building? That's the problem you have for a taxpayer anyway. So it's very difficult to broach that gap, but that's not for us to really discuss. It's Mr. Harris, his team, and the politicians to deal with that. But I don't think this will be an issue. I think it will still get passed come the 15th of July. So there you go.
Do you think it'll be done by then, in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks? I don't think it will be now. I think people are dragging the feet. And you know what's like in politics, mate? Things take ages to get done. No, like extra long.
Right.
Like they're not bothered to kind of wait. Oh, you know what? We'll just come next time we meet each other in a month's time. We'll come back and discuss it a bit more. And that's politics. Some things go on the slow. Whereas people like Harris and multi-billionaires who kind of, they stay in the room and can't get cracking until it's done. Do you know what I mean? Whatever it needs to be done. And I think that's where the hold-up is. It's like, obviously it's pissing Harris off because things aren't being done at the speed that he's probably expecting things to do if he was doing something, a part of his own businesses, if that makes sense. So I think it's just pissing him off, I think.
Well, you're right. You don't get to be a multi-billionaire and running companies and running sports franchises if you're not good at your job. Let's be honest with you. You know what I mean?
And he's not wiping his feet. You know what I mean? Well, yeah. He's slow.
Yeah.
He's going hell pace. You know what I mean? To try and get it done. And I think when he meets up with the most political part of the country, probably besides California, I think those two are the biggest places for politics, and things just go slow. And so there's so many different people who are out for themselves. That's the problem with politics, isn't it? You've got to stroke some guys back, and then you've got to pay this guy this, and you've got to do all this and this and that the other, and it's deal for deal, and etc. etc. So there's so many inner workings that we just got no idea about. Because this is billions of dollars worth of not just building a new stadium, but the infrastructure and also the longevity of 15, 20 years, 30 years even of a stadium being on there. So, it's not just looking at the next 5 years, it's looking at the next 15, 20 years. And so it's a big money deal for both, for the team and for DC itself. So,
yeah, 100% agree. I can't agree with you more, mate. We'll get into it then, mate. This episode obviously is known as the Commanders must sign an edge, and here's why. Obviously, looking at the free agent edge market that's still available at the moment, do you think in your mind, because I certainly do you think this is we must sign an edge, even a veteran free agent edge that's out there at the moment, just to kind of tip us over the edge? I kind of made in the initial opening statement of our pod there, I said that we're in that market where we're looking for an edge rusher that's a veteran edge rusher, and what we need to do right now is we need to make sure that we hone this in on Jaden's contract as it is at the moment, and just to tip us over the edge and to get us back to the championship games or deep within the playoffs. What are your thoughts on signing an edge? I know you've been keen on it all season. So what's your thoughts now? Further on in this.
I mean, my thoughts still haven't changed because we haven't. I don't think we've addressed it at all. The edge position, but it is one of them, isn't it? Can they get away with what they've got? Can they scheme it well enough? That's the other kind of thing. I just hope that Witt doesn't have this big ego, or even DQ saying things like, "Oh, well, we don't need a big name there, or we don't need this. We can get away with it. We can scheme around it." Now, when you don't have any linebackers who are great in coverage, you can't really scheme for it, really. So, yes, you can usually move up the middle, yeah, and maybe sometimes on the edge you might see do a late blitz or whatever, but you can't do that every single play. You know what I mean? So you need extra. You need different bodies, different skill sets, and we are lacking in that area. I mean, I'm as you said, we've got 4 more years of Jaden if you include his 5th-year option.
Yeah,
we've got to win now. This is the time, because as soon as he hits his big contract, it's going to be 70, 75 mil per year, something like that, something crazy, and that's just going to basically knacker the team going forward. I know the cap will go up, etc., but it's still going to be a massive amount of money that you got to pay him, which will hinder the team eventually. So we need to be winning now. These next 4 years are where it's at, and I think we've done a lot in this free agency to think that we are going to go and try and win now, which is great to see. But then it's about kind of the glaring hole is still the edge rusher. It really is. It's the glaring hole out of the whole squad now. If you're looking at your first team selections, your first team players who start, your actual starters, that's the only place you go, I'm not too happy about it. Everyone else, you think, well, actually, if these guys stay healthy, we could do something really good again this year. So it's one of them, man. I say, when we don't even have a start. For me, you don't even have a real starter on one side of the edge. So
I mean, Armstrong,
that
you would
worries me.
say, is your starter on one side, but he's not an ideal, 10, 12, 14. He's not a 14 sack a season kind of guy. You know what I mean? As to
No,
where we're going with that. He'd probably get you 8 or 9, season in, season out, which is good for a second edge rusher. But I think we're either going to have to make do with what we've got this year and hope for something. My issue here is, Scouse, is everything being put onto the offense just so that we can say, well, we're going to have an explosive offense, we're going to have a very good offensive team, we're going to drive it through Cliff Kingsbury, and we're going to play this bend don't break elephant edgy type thing where we stuff the middle and hope for interior pressure, because that's kind of the way I think that we're trying to run it this off season. It's very difficult, mate.
yeah, as I say, you can argue for and against having a new edge. As a fan, of course, you always want the best players you can get. You always want to upgrade in every position that you can. I think I think we've done that a lot this off season. We really do. I think this team look much more solid, even depth wise. It looks more solid already. But I say there's just certain areas that worry me down the stretch. I mean, when you really need something to happen, these teams are going to go over there and try and exploit that weakness. You just know it's going to happen, and it's about how you stop it. And we weren't able to stop the run last year at all. Now, again, I understand what they've tried to do. Get 2 big guys on the edge there, use the elephant edge, and try and force guys more inside. I get it. But then there's still a glaring hole just behind that edge, that elephant edge guy. There's still a glaring hole because Bobby Wagner can't cover it. You know what I mean? So Wagner can't cover it. Luvu, he's not really a sideline to sideline guy. He's more get at the actually make a tackle, or as in front, or actually rushing the quarterback. And then you've got maybe Madrano could be better than what we think. I don't really see anything of him yet. He's got the speed to be sideline to sideline, sure, but I don't know how good he really is.
But and tackling technique was a problem in college, wasn't it? So
yeah, people said that. Yeah, so he wasn't a tackling machine. He did kind of miss quite a few. So again, those things tackling can be technically cleaned up a little bit, but it's about kind of those instincts as well, not just relying on your speed. I mean, look at Jamin Davis, for example. He had a ridiculous speed, ridiculous athleticism, but then wasn't good at all. So it was kind of you could have that. You could have the football smarts and the IQ of reading it instantly. You know what I mean? Which that'll come for, or hopefully that'll come for him anyway. Touch wood. But again, at this moment, he's a question mark, isn't he? Let's face it.
It is. So let's have a look then at some free agents that are kind of best edge rusher free agents that are still out there at the moment. Now, being still out there on the open market right now, when we're 3 weeks away from training camp, it should tell you its own story, really. You know what I mean? That should be saying, right, well, why are these players not being picked up? Now, either they're too old, they have injury concerns, they're mercenaries, or there's something that's just maybe not a fit there. I mean, we can talk about the first one is Matt Judon, who's out there at the moment. Obviously, he's been with the Falcons, been with the Patriots prior to that. He signed in 2023 a $16 million contract. He got $7 million as a base salary, and then $6.5 million in 2024. He is now a free agent. Obviously, he is just turned 33, so obviously age is a problem there, Scouse. But I mean, if you can get the Matt Judon, and there's a little bit of juice left in Matt Judon from, say, 2021, you're getting a very, very good player there on the edge. Now, we don't necessarily need him to do... I mean, again, I'm playing devil's advocate here. No one expected... what's the guy who's just gone to the Cowboys again? Dante Fowler Jr., sorry. No one expected Fowler to come in and have 10.5 sacks last year. Absolute fact. Now, maybe Dietrich Wise can do that for us this year. I don't know. But would you, if there's any juice left, would you take a run at Matt Judon for maybe $6 million a year, that sort of contract?
Yeah, I think the hardest part here is if you're looking at it from a Dan Quinn, management type of thought process. Okay, does he have anything left? And the thing is that these guys, when you ring them, you're not going to go, do you know what? Fancy coming for a workout to see what you've still got left.
Yeah, they ain't
You
gonna
know
do
what I
that.
mean?
Yeah.
You're not going to do that. So it's kind of like you're taking a natural real punt on. Okay, it's only 6 mil, 8 mil, whatever it would be, but it's still that kind of thing of like, well, what's he actually got left? Are you going off his last year's tape, or are you saying there if you can get a 2020 match, you're on? Yeah, but that was 4 years, 5 years ago. These things aren't. Time catches up with all. So it's kind of, would you do it? I think I'd rather trade for somebody personally. However, if there's no trades available, then maybe it would be a guy that you could take a flyer on.
Yeah, I mean, the only other one that I can think of is a personal mercenary. He's always out there, but he always wants 20 million a year. Is Jadeveon Clowney. Obviously, he is an undrafted free agent at the minute. His contract was terminated by the Panthers. He signed
What's
in
that tell you?
2020. He signed in 2024 a $20 million 2-year deal. So that's obviously come to a head now, and the cap
So he was
saving
10 mil then. So he was a 10 mil hit then.
10 mil hit in the first year, and then last year obviously they had an out at the end of this season as well.
Yes.
So they just said that's it, we're done. Saving yourself 11.7 million on the cap there. So would I go with someone like Clowney?
I mean, how old's Clowney now? He must be in his 30s as well.
He is. Let me have a quick look. I will tell you now. Jadeveon Clowney.
82.
32, is he? Wow. 6'6", 274. I mean, yeah, maybe. Again, maybe it's something that you could do. I don't think he's unprofessional. You've not heard anything about him, off the field. He just always wants a $20 million salary, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think
Scott's probably nailed it here with what he's saying here. The team doesn't think it's as big a hole as fans do on June the 26th. You're probably right. This topic won't be addressed until after training camp starts.
Yeah, and that's another thing. There might be a guy that some guy might get caught. He was a kind of a fringe guy that actually might be perfect for our system. So there's always an element of might be some more guys that do come available. I mean, look at the left tackle that we had from the Bears.
Yeah, Lucas. Not Cornelius Lucas.
Not Lucas, no.
Yeah. I know you're talking.
No, I'm on about. Don't you? What's his name?
Oh my word. Oh, Leno, Charles
yeah,
Leno.
Yeah, Leno, Charles Leno. Yeah.
Wow, God.
He wasn't going to be. He was a starter.
It's only been a year and a half, Scouts. I can't even remember his name.
That's it, mate. As soon as you left the team, mate, that's it. You know what I mean?
Gone. Yeah,
out the window. Yeah. out the memory. So Leno again was a guy who got cut kind of unexpectedly, really. I know they kind of drafted a tackle, but they didn't realize he was going to be that good straight away, and they cut him in kind of like close to, pre-season, really, wasn't? I think it was.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty much.
Start. So you never know. Some unexpected guy might get caught, or becomes available in the trade. So who knows? But at the moment, I mean, I think it's a big hole. I know what Scott's saying, and you might say you might be right. I mean, I think it's being patient, isn't it? I think it's being patient and see what comes available, what shakes loose before the preseason starts.
Yeah, I understand that completely. I mean, we can go in hypotheticals here and let's talk about trades, really, because that is kind of where I wanted this to land with you. Now, you're extremely high and keen on Trey Hendrickson, as am I. I mean, who wouldn't be? 18.5 sacks for the past 2 seasons, bang on. Highest sack totals in the entire NFL. And as you said previously, and, I'll give you your flowers for this, you've said premium players just don't become available. They're not on the market at the moment. Now, Cincinnati, as we know, are effing about with contract negotiations and not doing anything to try and tie him up or push him forward. They're not even speaking, from what I've heard so far from the talking heads. So what would you even... I mean, the problem you have with trading is you don't want to necessarily lose more draft capital. But we have seen, this offseason in particular, obviously Peters isn't afraid to deal when he needs to deal. You know what I mean? And say, no, I can get this team better by giving away draft capital. We've given away draft capital for Marshawn Lattimore. We've given away draft capital for Debo. We've given away draft capital for Laramie Tunsil. So it's not out of the realm, but what are you giving him? Because I've got a theory on this, and I'll come on to it, mate, but I'll let you speak because I took too long there.
What about Hendrickson or just in general?
Yeah, about Hendrickson, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of course, who wouldn't want Hendrickson at the end of the day? I mean, I think he's just turned 30, so he's still got 2 to 3 years at the top, I think, left. But it's one of them. I would do it. I'd do it in an instant because I'm in win now mode.
Yeah, that's the.
I'm in win now mode, so I'm like, well, I'll be definitely talking to Cincinnati, saying, what's happening here? You know, I'm trying to find out what's going on. What would I give up? Well, then I'd be giving up potential. I mean, it's a bit harsh to go for a first, but I know that's what they'd want because obviously the guy puts up numbers, and he is actually that important to their team. I think I mentioned a while back when he snaps when he plays, when he doesn't, when he's not on the field at that time, and it makes a big difference. Cincinnati are ranked last in nearly every category on defense when he's not on the field, and then they're both 16th and 17th overall on everything when he is in the team. So that makes them make them doubly as good. Just having one guy on the field, that's how good this dude is, how important he is, and yeah, they're treating him like shit. So for me, I'd be all over it. I'd be speaking to his agent. I'd be speaking to, Cincinnati. What you're looking for? Because let's face it, they're not going to sign him. They're not going to re-sign him. I think they've burnt the bridges with him. Being honest. Unless they're going to give him some serious FU money. And I don't see that happening because they've already paid out way too much on the offense. So for me, I say I'll be looking into it. I mean, I wouldn't really want to give a first away, but if I had to, I probably would. Because that's the glaring hole.
That's exactly where I'm going with it. I mean, I'm looking at our picks for next year. So we've got a first round, we've got a third round, a fifth round, a sixth and a seventh as it currently stands at the moment. Obviously giving away a second for Laramie Tunsil. So we can't just say, right, here's a second rounder. I mean, would you go with a third, a seventh and a player possibly, and then Hendrickson and maybe a pick back? Or maybe it's a swap of picks further down the line, like maybe you swap the fifth rounder with another one. I mean, maybe you could do that. The other thing, you've got to try and finesse it that way. But ultimately, would I give up a first rounder, as you suggested there, saying, look, if you're going to get someone like a Trey Hendrickson, the answer is absolutely in a fucking heartbeat. Without even questioning it, I would give it up right now.
You know what you get.
Ultimately, you know what you're getting. This is my pros and cons really on it. You know what you're getting in a bona fide player. You have the salary cap to do this deal, to get that sorted. You're bringing in a proven winner who's not injury prone, has suffered very little on the injury front, plays nearly every game, is available, and then at the same time, if you're wanting to win and get yourself over the edge and you're in win now mode, you're going to be picking very late 20s, if not 30s. If your pick starts with a 3, what are you going to get in the draft really to replace that?
And the thing is,
because there's not going to be a top edge there next year. It's not one of these drafts where it's like, there's so many quarterbacks like we had in 2024 with Jaden. This year it was quite deep, in tackles and edge rushes and stuff like that. But we obviously, and running backs, which we didn't pick up on. Wide receivers, there's lots of wide receivers out there as well. And you think, well, we don't know what is going to come in the 2026 draft at the moment and where the prospects are, what's going on. But if you're picking really late, 29, that sort of 30, 31, 32 range, what are you going to get? You're not going to get a prospect that's straight out the box. Oh my God, unbelievable.
And the thing is as well, is if you're picking that late, you're always going to be a trade back guy. You're going to be a trade back candidate. Do you know what I mean? Because, as you say, what's the difference between being, say, 31st or 30th or 40th? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like it's a level of player, you're probably not going to miss out too much. So people are probably going to, we would be a trade we will be a trade back option for us at that point.
Yeah,
So we missed out on the first rounder anyway.
Yeah, because we are not going to have realistically anything until the third round after that because we haven't got a second. So it's like, well, what do? Scotty wants to trade away all our picks since he won't be announcing a pick. Yeah, probably, mate. I don't care anymore. I'm done. So that's fine by me. Also, Scott G says trade Terry for picks, then trade those picks for Henderson. Lol. Hendrickson. No, I mean no is the answer to that one. If you're in win now mode, pay that man. And also, we've come across and we'll pay him.
We've got the cash as well. I don't mean cap space. I mean cash.
Cash.
We've got cash that we can just blast these kind of bonuses up front, whatever it is, to lower the cap number. But for both these guys, because Henningson's going to want a lot of money as well. So
of course he is.
But again, if you really wanted to get it done, you could make both happen. If you really wanted it.
I would love that, and that would I think that would firmly put you in Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And saying, that's kind of where we're at. With 37 million.
You talk about Terry there, Scott, or Hendrickson?
And to be honest, do you believe anything Lake Lewis actually says? I don't. Sorry, Lake, but I've met you a few times, mate. But
we had some crazy.
Where are you hearing 37 million for? Terry, come on now.
It's a bit much. That I'm not gonna lie. I mean, if he was 27 in his age, maybe you'd push to that, but not when he's touching when he will be 30 at that point. I just can't see.
We talked about this on the Bleeding Burgundy the other day, and you were the judge on there, and obviously we had this court case type thing going on.
No one listens to me there either. Does that happen in real life when judges don't ever get spoke to?
I thought you were quite quiet, mate, to be fair, but there you go. It's not your fault.
No, I mean, you object. I'll always give my thing. You know what I mean?
I just think that...
And they're to listen. Run it, really.
37 is a lot. That's a lot of money. I mean, that is ridiculous. That's actually ridiculous. I think it falls around the Deebo Samuel, the DK Metcalf kind of deal, 33, 32-ish million. Yeah,
I listened to the judge.
You did listen to the judge, Scott, and you were very good on that podcast as well. So thank you for being on with us that day. But yeah, man, Terry, pay him, and then obviously more importantly, Hendrickson. I do
if you are going to lose out on a like basically give up virtually your whole draft stock, because if we give away our first and something else, then it's virtually over. You got virtually nothing that you're going to get really. But this year be a good one because 2027, as you mentioned before, if we can get a lot more picks, because obviously we're going to be front and center of that, could be in that's in DC. You see what I mean? So these things could work in our favor anyway, even though we burn our picks for next year as in 2026. But 2027 will have a whole set of roster, whole set of picks again, and we can be making moves. Do you know what I mean? So I just think it's worthwhile just to kind of just go in and just go, do you know what? Let's just see if they'll test their resolve with the first rounder. See what's into that, you'd say.
Is there anyone else out there that you'd look at? I mean, TJ Watt's been talked.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, if you can get, obviously, you'd probably prefer him over Hendrickson just purely because he's younger.
Yeah.
But again, the wages are going to be just as bad as probably Terry's, 37 mil. More. Yeah, it's gonna be huge money, and that's the reason why he's not signed with Pittsburgh, because they haven't come to the number that he wants. So it's. It's a hell of a lot of money. It's a big thing for that one, and they probably need multiple firsts as well to get a TJ Watt, someone who's that dominant as well. So, yeah, tough one. But yeah, I wouldn't mind any of those two. I'd be quite happy with either one.
I'd be absolutely the same. What do you think? Where do you think we land in the end? Do you think we see a veteran come in? A Von Miller, a Jadeveon Clowney, a Matthew Judon, someone like that coming in, or maybe a cut casualty as you and Scott were talking about before in the chat, or do you see us doing a crazy trade? What do you think? If you had to put your money where your mouth is and you had £10, where would you be putting your money?
I'd probably put it on waiting until you've seen who's been caught from a cap casualty standpoint.
So do you put all your tenner on that, or are you going to
Yeah,
go like, oh,
I'd write it on today.
I put
On
a quid.
today,
I put a quid on Trey Hendrickson.
yeah,
I put 7 on.
yeah, yeah. I ain't splitting them, mate. I'm all or nothing. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. So at this moment from today, the way things are, I'd probably be patient and wait and see who falls out the tree. You know what I mean? And go with that. Because I just don't think. I mean, we know Peters is normally quite conservative with stuff like this, but there has been the odd trade that you go, whoa, wait there a minute. When he really believes in the play, he's willing to go after it. You know what I mean? Like, for example, I know when pear-shaped, but the Trey Lance scenario, he lost 3 first rounders for that. You know what I mean? The way that kind of worked out, messed up 49ers, but they truly believed that he was the real deal.
But was that him or was that Lynch?
That's probably both. Probably a bit of both. I mean, you're not going to, if you're John Lynch, you're not sitting there and going, you know what, I've got AP over there, and he's giving me all this info and I'm just going to ignore it. If you do that, mate, then you deserve to be fired. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I just think you've got to take somebody who's been a scout most of his, adult career. You know what I mean? Who knows players, who's been to multiple teams, who knows how it works. I mean, if you don't take that guy's advice, man, then you're just having a nightmare, aren't you? Really? That's just egos getting in the way if that's the case. But the San Francisco 49ers don't act like we had with Fan Snyder. You know what I mean? Like, they don't act like that. Their ownership's never been like that. So I always think that they were more of a team thing, and that's what AP's brought over with DQ for us. So I definitely think there was definitely an element of both. Really believed in him, and obviously he failed. That's probably I think it's his biggest boast. But I think he believed in him that much that they're willing to do it. They're willing to do whatever it took to get him. And I know, okay, they might not believe in the same thing as we are. Should we get a TJ Watt? Should we get a Hendrickson and just lose 2 or 3 first rounders to do that? It's unlikely. It's unlikely he's going to do it, but you don't know because he has done it before. But his body of work mostly will tell me no, he won't go and spend big on an edge rusher. But we'll see.
Breaking news from an hour ago: Adam Schefter said that NFL is suspending former Ravens kicker Justin Tucker for the first 10 weeks of the upcoming season for violating the league's personal conduct policy. Yeah.
So he was getting the happy endings, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. He
was
doing some extracurricular activities.
Yeah. How's this work though? He gets 12. He gets a 10-game ban, and yet Watson got like a year ban, whatever it was originally, or 2-year ban, whatever the hell it was. You know what I mean?
I have no idea.
And pretty similar scenarios, unless like Tucker actually just paid the woman for it and not actually tried to forced on him, which Watson did. So I don't know. Maybe that's the difference. But yeah, man, it's he's done, man. He's done. And say he was losing. His accuracy was quite poor as well, wasn't it? Last year as well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he was losing the plot with it.
He probably wasn't meant to switch on, mate, because of all the crap that's going on around him.
Maybe. Who knows, mate? Who knows what's going on there? One thing that did come out, which kind of raised a few eyebrows in Commanders Nation, was the PFF's top 10 returning head coaches. I mean, did you see this at all? It was Dalton Wasserman, I think is how you pronounce his surname. He put together the returning head coaches from PFF. I'll read them out to you. I'll go from 10 to 1. So
what do you mean? What do you mean returning head coaches? Isn't like what the other another job and came back? Or
no. This is who's coming back next year into whichever team they're in.
So like DQ, for example, he's just
DQ coming back. And what he's done is he's done his top 10 coaches in the league. So this is as per PFF. Kevin Stefanski, number 10. Dan Campbell, number 9. Nick Sirianni, 8. Kyle Shanahan, 7. Jim Harbaugh, 6. Mike Tomlin, 5. John Harbaugh, 4. Sean McVay, 3. Sean Payton, 2. And Andy Reid, number 1. Any names missing off that list, Scouts?
You mean like DQ, you mean? Yeah,
You mean,
the guy
yeah, you
got
mean,
through-
yeah,
you mean the guy
exactly.
got to the semi-finals? Yeah, you mean
The
that? You mean
guy,
that DQ? You mean you know Kevin Stefanski, man, like massively overrated, massively overrated. Should be anywhere near the top 10. Who's the other ones? I mean, having Dan Campbell at 9's a joke as well. To be honest,
agree, mate. I agree with you. Yeah,
he should be way in the top 5. I mean, I'm bringing the whole who was it? Not John Orboard, the other one, Jim. He came back last year.
Jim. Yeah,
He's not. He's not all that. Not all that
I
really.
know. Not at the moment. He's not.
Good.
I mean,
He's not like not that good. You know what I mean? Like, I'd pick DQ over him.
absolutely, saying it, and that's I think that's the point of our fan base was saying, well, hold on a minute, where the hell is DQ? And it's like, well, yeah, where is DQ in that list? It's just ridiculous because you have to say to yourself, well, what is going on here? This is a guy who took a team from 4 wins to the bloody to 14 wins. You know what I mean in the season and to the NFC Championship. Surely you get a bit of recognition there. But no. This is PFF, so let's not rock the boat.
This
let's
is
just
why I take
Andy Reid
PFF with a pinch of salt and don't lead on all the things, all the shit that comes out from them. Even we've got metrics, it's still a subjective metric, no matter what they say. You know what I mean? Oh, I give this guy an 80 this week because he fucking pushed somebody over. You know what I mean? Like, I said, come on. It's gotta be more than that. It's just basically some guy just reading it and watching the game and going, yeah, it's a decent game. And then giving you a random rating. You know what I mean? A random numbered rating. It's crazy. It's crazy to say that's objective. It's not.
It certainly isn't, that's for sure.
And that's why I take it with a pinch of salt. Yeah, it gives me an idea they had a good game. But I'm not going to go completely off it. You know what I mean? So, I have my own eyeballs to see if who played well, who didn't.
Yeah, well, Yam, thank you for joining us, mate. Appreciate you. If my voice is still tinny, I apologise. I have moved
Actually got a bit better.
Upstairs. I just literally turned the mic up. I think it had knocked me down. So I think that was part of the problem. So I'm hoping that this has kind of made an issue. He said DQ took a team from a losing record to the NFC Championship game in one season. Exactly, mate. That's exactly where it goes. But I think I just need to turn into the mic. I think it's just the way it's set in. Terry for TJ Scott, absolutely not. No, don't get me started on this again. We're going to have arguments, mate, and it's not going to be ideal. But there you go.
I mean that'd be. I know, obviously, it wouldn't have happened, but
fan base would go crazy.
Yeah,
because the problem you've got then is where do you, if you did something like that, which I completely, I can see. I can understand, but if you do something like that, where do you go on wide receiver? Because we've got no indication of what Noah Brown's injury is like. You're then basing yourself on what? KJ Osborne, Michael
People are saying Brown's okay, People are saying he's all right.
Yeah, I keep hearing that as well, so who knows?
I mean, who would be the most angry fan base with that trade? Because I don't think there's a winner.
No, I think both would be angry. I think
the Steelers CJ and we would lose Terry, and then you're like, oh well,
But then the Steelers would say, oh, well, we've now got an elite wide receiving duo.
Yeah.
And I'd say you're probably right.
You could spin it like that. You've either got a piss poor quarterback in Rodgers.
Is he washed? We don't know, do we? I mean, I would not be surprised.
He was washed 2 years ago.
I know he is, but I would not be surprised if he comes back and has an awesome season and then just rides off into the sunset and go, see you later, I'm done. Which is what his intention. He sat on Pat McAfee the other day and said, I'm done at the end of this season. But to be honest with you,
he was done 2 years ago. That's what I mean.
He's done too long.
After he did his Achilles, mate, that was it. Over. He should have retired then. I understand why he didn't get his money and all the rest of it. I understand why he didn't, but he should have.
Exactly.
He's unfortunately he's become a cancer in every team he's played for. I mean, Green Bay did great to keep him on the straight and out for so long. Yeah. Because he was causing problems there, but we just didn't know about it. That's how well they managed all that. And then obviously moved on, and then you see how crazy he got. So it's kind of, Yeah, they did a fantastic job of keeping them under control at Green Bay. Same everywhere else. Now you end up losing your coach over him. You know what I mean? Hires his own boys, hires his own players. You know, it's like, come on, who the fuck's this guy? You know what I mean?
I wonder what MVS is doing.
Yeah.
Is Randall Cobb free this year?
Alan Lazard, is he available?
Yeah, exactly. Alan Lazard.
And these are the guys that he was always bringing back because he loved them, which is fine to a certain extent. But you can't just go, if you want me, you got to sign 3 of my dudes as well. You can't do shit like that.
I mean, New York signed Adams for crying out loud.
Yeah, he got Devontae Adams in as well, didn't he? Yeah. No, and what happened to the offense was wank anyway.
It was awful. It was god awful, wasn't it?
Come on,
I mean, it's not. You could say it's Rodgers obviously injured, so I'm like, yeah, I get that. What he's saying there, I think, is he's saying PFF rankings topics. Some fans, not surname, are bored in June and July. Exactly right. We're all bored in June and July. That's why we're probably going to cut it short very soon.
Let's just cause some talking points while this.
That's exactly his talking points.
Yeah. There it is. Here it is, Yam Elite Terry.
Elite Terry, yeah. The only question we got through this week, Scouts, was from Scott G. So thank you, Scott G, in our chat, and thank you, Yam, for being in with us as well. And for all those listening on the audio version, we will give you Scott's question now. He said, are there any pictures of Scouts sitting on a street corner trying to collect dollars for the Madrid trip? I mean, no.
Not just yet, mate. No, not just yet. But I might have to start.
Crowdfunding.
Yeah. I might have to start, man, because we saw the prices come out, didn't we? You got your tickets, and then there was the Santander version, which was like kind of an early sale as well. That happened today.
Has that come out as well today?
That came out today, and some of the prices were really expensive, like really expensive. For I think, what was it, about $500 for Cat 1 or Cat 2 ticket. And then yours was about $380, wasn't it? Something like that? $350?
Yeah, about that. It was £230. So
yeah, so was that $300?
$350. Yeah, $350. I think, yeah.
Yeah, so and that's a Cat 4.
Yeah, but it was decent. It's a decent seat.
Good seat. I looked
where it is. Yeah.
I looked on the thing. I was like, man, that's a good section. That doesn't look too, even though it's in the 300s. It's actually quite low down. It's good. It's a good seat. Jealous really, because obviously I haven't got my tickets. But,
well, don't worry. The 8th, we'll be all right on the 8th. We're going to go and get it sorted. Scott G, I don't know if you've ever been to Lambeau before. I think you have been to Lambeau. I'm pretty certain you've been to Lambeau.
It's around the corner, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, sort of. No, it's a bit of a drive. But no, I'm glad you got your Green Bay tickets, mate. That's pretty sweet. But sitting on them benches, nah, not for me. Yeah, your brother Ian, he says, bro, I think you should rotate your signed pictures behind you and show off your goods. Ian, if it carries on this way, Scouts will be selling them behind him, to be fair, before we get to Madrid.
My collection's going to be gone, so I'm going to the Spain game. Yeah. Not wrong.
You got to do what you got to do, mate. Anyway,
I mean,
please text 8100 Scouts if you want to.
If you see these two, this is my like little
It's your man cave, isn't it? Yeah.
This should be a little office. This one, so there's not. Well, there's quite a few on the other side, but so we got at the top. There's a Darrell Green one.
Right.
Darrell Green signed picture there, 20 by 16. I think that one is. Obviously, we saw the Kerrigan there saying Redskins for life on it, which that's awesome. To be fair, the guy behind the machine, that's our mate signed. What's his name? Hall of Famer, 63. What's his name? The big stud quarterback. What's his name?
Theismann.
No, the 60 man in the 40.
Oh, it's in this. Oh, sorry, mate. Yeah.
Hall of Famer. Damn name. Sammy Baugh.
Sammy.
Yeah. So that's a signed Sammy Baugh behind me there. That's why it's a grayed out picture. It's a grayscale picture. And this one here is Charles Mann.
Nice.
Signed there. So that's just this side. The other side, I've got an Alex Smith signed jersey. I used to like Alex Smith. And then Portis, Theismann, another Kerrigan signed, bought a helmet canvas, another Sammy Baugh one over there, and I got a Willie Beeman Don't forget Willie Beeman.
Can't forget Steaming Willie Beeman.
Steaming Willie Beeman. You got to have that signed, man. So I got Jamie Foxx to sign that one. That was cool.
Which is your American one with the flag on it? Is that the Kerrigan jersey?
I've got a couple. I've got a Portis one, and it's even got the on the actual jersey itself. I don't know if I'll be able to show you because it's the other angle, but it's got the. Let's take the earphones off. It's getting too close. 1 sec.
Nice.
So that one there is Clinton Portis.
It's got the Redskins on it, yeah.
Fight song embroidered on it as well.
Nice.
So there's Willie Beeman that you can already see over there.
Scousey's treasure trove.
So yeah, it's probably can't hear me now, but yeah, man. So that's just in this bit. I've also got an American flagged Kerrigan one as well in the other side, and I've got the all Super Bowl winning quarterbacks signed jerseys as well. That's in the landing. So I've got quite a few, yeah. And then I've got stuff downstairs there. A lot of helmets and that as well. So I've spent an absolute fortune and all this.
He's also got a very understanding wife.
Yeah. Most of the house is taken up by memorabilia on the wall somewhere. Yeah, 100%, man.
I was going to say, man. Yeah, I was going to say that's crazy. Scott says it's a 12-hour drive, but first trip to Lambeau from
nice.
my dad. Brilliant, mate. That's really cool.
Yes,
that'd be
it's a really cool stadium. I just didn't know. I wasn't impressed with the stupid little bleacher things that they've got.
No, that's terrible. But so buy a seat to screw onto the bleachers, Scott. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think with what Scott actually mentioned it, wasn't it, like a few weeks back?
It was Deluxe, wasn't it? I think he came in and said, "Yeah, that's what they do. They tend to go on Amazon and find like a seat,
find this bleacher thing, yeah, that kind of connects to it or something." Because there isn't a seat; it literally is a fucking metal bench. It's a metal bench that's like about 4 inches, 5 inches wide. It's crazy, man. It's like you sat on that, you're absolutely dead quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's
but yeah, cool. I mean, it's a fantastic stadium, though. We went inside, didn't we? It was really cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
Oh yeah, don't forget
the posse.
Yeah, true.
Can't forget
all three signed and one photo. All three signed, custom made one. All three of them signed it. Getting Art Monk was a nightmare, to be fair. Talking about
because he doesn't sign anything, does he?
Doesn't do signings, man, anymore. So it's so hard to get him. Al Green's hard as well, to be fair. Although he has done one recently, signing, which is quite rare because you just don't normally get him. There's always something really difficult, you know. So you just don't do signings, so this stuff's worth more.
Yeah, agreed. I understand exactly. That's why the valuation goes up as well. Do you know what I mean, Co?
Yeah, I mean,
it's never going to go down.
I mean, I don't have any. Like I have a Sean Taylor thing, but not an actual signed Sean Taylor. If I had something Sean Taylor, I mean, for example, like a jersey like I just showed you there on a frame, stuff like that was Sean Taylor. They're going for 30K. 30,000, yeah, minimum. Because obviously it's so rare, you know? And whoever's got one, most of them don't want to sell them anyway. Because
absolutely. Yeah, I get why.
An elite guy and, you know, one of the true legends who was just built differently, you know? So hard to try and get them ones.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, Mel, that just about does us. There's not a lot more to talk about. Thank you for everybody for sticking around. Thanks to Ian, Scott G, Yam, who's just joined us in the chat, and for putting questions in. We appreciate you. It's one of them times, mate, where probably over the next couple of weeks, unless there's any Terry news, you're not going to be wanting to really. You're not going to know anything. There's nobody even in the building. But we're still keeping the mic rolling, mate. We're always doing. It's nice to chat it up with you on a Thursday. So I appreciate you being on with me as well, mate.
Always, man.
Yeah. Anything left for the fans out there, the thousands of thronging fans that are listening to us right now?
Thronging? What the hell's that word?
It just means the throng. I mean, it's like there's so many fans listening out there. Yeah. Not a thong, you heathen. Come on.
Hey, you're the one who's bringing these words up, mate, not me. You
know? No, I'm not. There you go. The thronging crowd. You know what I mean?
I'm talk about me. I just want to let's swerve this thong talk.
Yeah, it's got a bit mad there. Yeah, donate $10 to the Scouts Fund 81622, and you'll get the rest of the podcast after dark.
To be fair, I think it would be. I think it really would be a travesty if I never got a ticket. It would be a travesty. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Because it's your birthday and Jesse's birthday weekend as well, and obviously he's travelling halfway across the world, so I'm a bit like, if you don't get a ticket, yeah, that's going to be crazy. So praying for all those on the 8th. We wish you best of luck to get a ticket, but we'll wait and see what happens, mate.
The baby pick is a star Scottish feed.
It is indeed, yeah. That's So that's my son, yeah, when he was young, and then at the top of it is my son and daughter when they were very young as well. But you wouldn't think he's 18 in 2 weeks, which is just it's mad. It's a madness. But yeah, they grow up very 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 quickly, mate. So there you go. Right, well that just about does us, bro. Anything else?
I'm good, man.
All good. All right. Well, we'll see you again next week. Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.